So, every time I log into one of these videos, it's not because something good is happening. No, it's because something crap is happening. Maybe one day I will make a good video. I have a lot to be thankful. But just like today, I just had this need. I was like, I just want to get on and talk to myself again. I have people I can talk to. I can talk to my husband, no problem. He's that kind of guy. He'll listen, and he's wonderful. Pray with me. He'll hug me, all of it. But he can't do anything about it. And nobody can. And sometimes you just need to be alone. Because nobody can help you. And you know that. And having somebody help you or trying to help you is just compounds your agony because they can't help you. Nothing, nobody can help. And sometimes having somebody there makes you feel responsible for yourself in a way that I don't want to be. And sometimes you just cry too much and it's a lot for another person to take. It's a lot. I understand that. It's a lot. And I don't want someone to have to be there for me to that level. I don't. I would rather talk to myself. Only because there's only so much a human being can take, and watching someone be in agony that you care for and you can't do anything about it but helplessly listen. I think that's a burden. I think that's too much for anybody. Even if they're willing, I think it's too much. So I come here and I talk to myself. My mom started chemo today. She was leading up to this chemo. She's been very positive mentality wise. She's been like, well, a lot of people don't have a reaction to the first round of chemo, and so I'm probably gonna be okay. You know, the second day is the worst. So the first day I get it. I'm gonna drive myself there, probably drive myself home. And today is a Friday, January 29th, and we have a Christmas play that kept getting kicked down the road because of COVID. So finally tonight is the Christmas play. This is actually the second year we've tried to do this play. And last year everybody got wiped out because of the flu, and this year everyone got wiped out because of COVID. Not literally wiped out, but so now tonight, January 29th, is the Christmas play. And my mom really wants to see it, so she was like, I'm just going to bring myself to the play, and Dad will drive me if I'm sick, but I'm going to be fine. People don't get sick the first day. You get it. It's the second day and the third day I'm going to get sick. So she texted me a picture of herself this morning. She had her mask on. She was like, feeling good. Didn't even feel she has a port in her chest. You know, she was like, they had to stick a something needle in her. She was like, I didn't even feel it. And she was there for like a couple hours. She's like, I brought magazines and videos. Like, I catch up on, I want to journal. My mother doesn't really journal, but she was like, I'm going to create a journal, scrapbook, memories of the occasion, so I can look back and see what the Lord has done. So I talked to her right afterward. I called her. She's like, oh, I'm a little tired. I'm just gonna like lay down. It's been a long day. It was like in the afternoon. And I said, maybe we'll come back later. I said, I'll come over. She doesn't live near here, but they have a little apartment near my house that they stay in sometimes. I said, I'll come over to the apartment with the girls. And my son had his girlfriend in town. I'm like, maybe we'll just swing in and say hi to you while you're, convalescing on the couch. And she's like, okay, great. Then I talked to her about 2 hours after that because she said, oh, we're going to lay down for a little bit. We're just exhausted. Then I talked to her after that, like 4. And she was markedly different. I said, how you doing, Mom? Did you get a nice nap? And she was like, no. She's like, I got sick, got diarrhea. She's like, it's pretty significant. I can't leave the bathroom. She's like, I've had it for a couple hours. So I'm like, well, did they give you anything for nausea? She's like, oh, no. It's not nausea. It's just diarrhea. And I was like, okay. Did they give you anything for diarrhea? She's like, it'll clear up. She goes, I had these grapes earlier. And I had a soup. Someone made me a soup. It was a red base soup. And sometimes that can give you diarrhea. And I was like, and I just very quietly, I was like, Mom, you're not having diarrhea because of the soup or the grapes. I said, Mom, you're having diarrhea as a reaction to your chemo. She just got really quiet. She was like, yeah, I know. I said, can I bring you anything? I know you have soup. And so she was like, yeah, I could go for a banana. And I was like, I have 1 banana in my house right now. And I said, it's a little brown. She's like, I do not eat brown bananas. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go to Walmart because I have to get a couple things. And I said, and I actually need bananas. I eat them constantly. So I said, I will get you some bananas and I will make sure there is no brown on them. So took me like an hour to get all that done. Drive up there, get the kids, whatever, in and out of Walmart. So I called her on my way home. I said, hey, I'm about to come to the apartment. I have your bananas. And we had bought her a bouquet of roses. And I had said to the girls, I let them pick out, and I didn't like their choices. And I was like, you know what? Even though I don't love roses, I said they dry well. And I said, you know what? She wants to make this scrapbook. I said maybe she could dry the roses in her, put them in a scrapbook. These are like her first chemo roses, right? And every week I'll buy her a different color or something like this. Is your second week chemo roses. And so I called her and I said, Mom, we're almost to the apartment. And she sounded so different. And she's like, Alicia, I'm really sick. And I said, well, I'm concerned about your diarrhea. I don't want you to lose fluids and electrolytes. And she's like, this water's disgusting and I can't keep any water down. It's gross. It's the water. And I said, can I bring you any fruit juice, Mom? I said, I'll bring you some Pedialyte. I can't have juice. because it's filled with sugar. This is the woman who's been chugging carrot juice for a solid month, which is very high in even just natural sugar. I was like, not fruit punch, Mom. Would you like me to make some apple juice, grape juice, whatever juice, orange juice? She can't have the acidity, but anyway. She's like, I can't have it. I said, what if we dilute it by 50%? It just takes the edge off the flavor of water. I said, I have strawberries, I have blueberries. I can cut them up and put them in your water. She's like, no, forget it. She said, I'm really sick. She said, I'm so nauseated. And so I said, okay. So she said, oh, I took Zofran for the nausea. She said, but it's a lot, right? So I don't know if she was lying to me or not about not throwing up, because she said she had not thrown up. I don't know why she would lie. I'm sure she was telling me the truth. But because when I got to the apartment, it's a tiny little apartment. It's like a studio. It's like a bathroom, a bedroom, and a common area that's like a kitchen, living room combo. It's a very small, 600 square feet or less. It's tiny. So I walked in the apartment and it was like 90 degrees. It was so hot. Of course, I didn't say anything. And I had my girls and I said, if you don't want to bring the little girls in with me, my mom's like, oh, no, I want to see them. So we walked in and my 5-year-old was holding the bananas and the flowers. And so we gave them to my mom. I said, these are your chemo flowers. I said, we just want to, I said, you can dry them and we're going to look back and we're going to remember that you made it through. And these flowers will always remember this day, as bad as this day is. Right? So I get a look at my mom's face because it was kind of shadowed in there. Her eyes were horrifically bloodshot. They were like the whites of her eyes were pink. Her conjunctiva area was like inflamed red. And I was like, Mom, I said, have you been vomiting? And she's just like, no, I just feel really sick. She's like, it's just nausea. And she was sitting there like, my mom never, her hair looked crazy. She had makeup on, but her face was like, it was just pale and ashen, drawn. And she kept sitting there doing this weird thing with her hands I've never seen her do before. She was like going like this to her face, or she kept going like this and just leaning her head like this. And I was like, are you sick right now? Like, you feel like you're going to throw up? She was like, yeah. I said, you look like you have a headache. She's like, no, I don't have a headache. She was just like, holding her head like that, whatever. You do weird stuff when you're nauseated. And so I said, well, you look like it's been a rough day. And I glanced over at my dad and he looked like a train wreck. His hair was it was like mussed and crazy, like he had been sleeping for hours. He'd probably just been running his fingers through his hair from anxiety, just the stress of it all. And so I was like, I just kind of was like, you look like it's been a rough, so you look like it's been a rough day. And as soon as I said that, my dad, he just burst into tears. He was like, it's been a very rough day. He said, I'm shot. He said, it's been a very hard day. And my mom kept fussing over the littlest things. She's like, these bananas are cold. Must be cold outside. And then the girls went and gave her a hug. She's like, everybody's so cold. And then she's like, even the roses are cold. She was just like focusing on the minutia. So I just kind of talked to them for just like a minute or two. And I had to go. I had to be somewhere, actually. And I had to get the girls dinner. And they had to go to a play. And I was like, well, I got to get going. I said, I got to get going. I said, but I'm going to pray, because when my mom got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, this whole thing, this whole nightmare has just compelled me toward God. And I had committed to myself and to the Lord and to my mom that every single time I see her, I will lay hands on her and pray. Every time. And I have never failed at that. Every time I see her, I don't care where she is. I don't care if it's the grocery store. I don't care if she's pumping gas and I drive by. I stop. And I'm like, give me that pancreas. And we just start to pray. And so I said, I gotta go, but let's pray for your pancreas and your ovarian cancer. And so I sat, they were at the kitchen table, and the girls were just kind of, before we went in, I was like, you better sit still and be quiet, or it's death for you at home. They were very good girls, and they just sat there quietly on the steps. And so I sat at the table, and I reached for my dad's hand, and I reached for my mom's hand, and I said, we're going to pray. You know, with that confidence that I do not feel. I do not. In fact, I've been really struggling. Today I thought I was having a heart attack, actually. I've been breaking out all over my body in hives and rashes. Randomly. I had a huge thing on my neck that I thought was a spider bite. And I think it was just a hive. I have these marks that keep showing up. You probably can't even see it. No, you can't. I have these really dark marks on my arm. I'm getting these huge lines down my arm that I think are an allergic reaction to stress. They come and go. I went to the doctor. They said it was nothing. I think it's just stress. And today I thought I was having a heart attack. My chest, I was having that squeezing like an elephant on your chest. I felt like I was having shooting pain down my left arm. And I know it's just the enemy. I know it is. Because my stress level inside is through the roof. And I'm struggling. I'm struggling still, as I have from the beginning of this and well before this, with faith for healing. I'm struggling. Where is the point of faith? I feel like there's something in me that always wants to say, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, like, even if our God can rescue us, but even if he doesn't, we won't bow, King. And I don't know where that point is. I don't know where it's blind, stupid faith. But it's ignoring reality, which is, it's the opposite of faith, is essentially reality. And I feel like, but at what point do you say, okay, she's dead? Or do I believe past the grave, like Lazarus? Believe beyond the grave? At what point, I can't figure out what point. The other day, I was just driving down the road to the gym. I wasn't doing anything else. It was just nothing. I think I had something on the radio. And I came to this part of the road where the road made a T. And I was coming up to the T. And right across the T is a Dunkin' Donuts. And at that corner, across the major road at T, Central Ave, I'm pulling out from the side street. I'm going to take a left. And at the top of the T, at the Dunkin' Donuts, near the Dunkin' Donuts, but not at the Dunkin' Donuts, there's a man. I'm looking across the way as I'm at the red light. And I'm just watching him because he just really stood out to me because he was acting strangely. He was like looking up to the sky, and then he would turn around, like a complete circle, and turn around. He has mask on and stuff. And I'm like, what's this guy doing? Like, it's a very busy road. And so I thought, what is he doing? He's acting so oddly. And he's right about to step off the curb. And then I realized he had a long cane with a red tip, so he was blind. He didn't have any sunglasses on or anything, just his mask and a jacket. And so I watched him. I was just observing him. But then I started to get worried about him because he kept turning in circles. And I was like, what is this dude trying to do? He's like trying to cross the street or something. And I thought he's going to get hit by a car. There's a ton of traffic and the guy is blind. The traffic just whizzing by him. So I thought, you know what? Instead of taking my left, I'm going to pull straight across the road, across the major road here. And I'm going to pull into Dunkin' Donuts parking lot. And I'm going to park. And I'm going to get out. And I'm just going to say, you know, excuse me, sir, would you like some help? Well, like what? You know, I was going to help him cross the street. He looked so confused, and I thought, he keeps looking up to the sky and turning in circles. What is he doing? It's like his first day being blind. So I pull in, so my light changes. I pull across the major highway, major road, and I pull right into the Dunkin' Donuts parking lot, put the car in park, and I open my door. And I'm turning around like, where's the blind guy? Because he wasn't on the corner anymore. And in my side mirror, I see him crossing the road to Dunkin' Donuts. I was amazed, actually. I was like, oh my gosh, he's crossing the road and he's tapping his key, tap, back and forth, tap, 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 right? So now I'm fascinated. I was like, I couldn't believe that when the light changed, technically speaking, I shouldn't hit him because he was I'm going across the Dunkin' Donuts and he's trying to cross perpendicular to me. He must have waited till my car went by. I could have been the one that killed the very man I was trying to help. That's irony. So now I'm fascinated. I'm like, what's this guy doing? Is he gonna be okay? Because he's across the Dunkin' Donuts driveway, and it's busy. It's a busy Dunkin' Donuts, very busy. And so now I'm just watching, right? So he gets across the Dunkin' Donuts entry driveway, and there's a huge curb. So now I'm watching him, blind as can be, no vision of any kind. And I thought he's going to trip on the curb to try to step up to go to Dunkin' Donuts. He's going to trip on the curb. Nope. He's tap, 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 tap. And on the inside of the curb, there's a bunch of grass. So he's like, so he finds the curb. He's like, he stops, he feels the curb. So now I can see him walking and he's sort of dragging one of his feet along the curb. Like his ankle is dragging along the curb as he's tapping the grass that's up on the curb. He's tap, 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 tap. Then I see him reach the cement walkway that actually goes into Dunkin' Donuts. So he taps grass, 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 tap. He hits the cement. Goes back, taps the grass, taps the cement, walks a few feet forward, taps cement, cement, cement. Boom, he's on grass again. Takes a few steps back, tap with his ankle along the curb, tap, 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 hits the cement. Probably can smell Dunkin' Donuts at this point, right? So now he steps up onto the curb and he faces the Dunkin' Donuts door. Tap, 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 walks forward, tap, 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 tap. His cane, bunk. Cane hits the front of Dunkin' Donuts. So now he's got to find the door. So now he has his hands on the glass of Dunkin' Donuts and he's kind of going like this, back and forth, back and forth. And he went all the way to the edge, away from the door. The door was in the middle, and he felt his way all the way over to one side, and he kind of felt there was a corner there, and he's like, okay, he comes back. Now he's feeling up and down, and he finds the door, finds the door knob, the door handle, pulls it open, goes into Dunkin' Donuts. And I watched this whole thing unfold. I just sat there. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And I burst into tears. I mean, I just broke. I just started to sob because I felt like that blind man was me. I felt like I was watching myself try to get to where I need to go. And I'm blind. I'm so blind. I can't see my way. And yet this man, I'm watching this man and he's like, tap forward, is that it? Oh, tap back. Okay, I think this is it. I'm gonna check again. He's dragging his foot along the curb, and the whole time he's like listening. That's what he was doing. He was listening. That's why he was turning in circles. He was listening. He was tuning his ear, and he was turning himself so he could hear. And I just broke because I feel helpless and blind, and yet, if I had helped that man across the street, and if I had helped him to Dunkin' Donuts, or for that matter, if anybody had, or maybe his first day being blind or being new in the neighborhood, somebody helped him tap over to Dunkin' Donuts, and he counted the steps, and he knew to listen to the change in the traffic, and he knew where everything was, and he just was blind, but he knew how to get there. And I was like, if I had helped him, I would have done him no favors, actually. Because not only did he know how to get there, but his survival depends on being able to do it for himself. I would not have been a help to him because he was perfectly capable of getting himself Dunkin' Donuts. He'd probably done it a bunch of other times. And in that moment, I was in my car, and I just put my face in my hands and I cried. I was like, God, is this me? I need I need help, and I want help getting to Dunkin' Donuts. I was like, God, please. And I felt like the Lord was showing me myself, and I felt like he was saying to me, Alicia, you know how to get to where you need to go. And not that God won't help me, but that sometimes his help when we want it isn't doing us any favors, because our survival depends on being able to get where we're going when we feel completely blind. Like we're groping in the darkness. He's groping for this door, but he found it. And it like weirdly ministered to me. In that moment, I just felt like the compassion of God, like the tender mercy of God watching me, like, you already know how to get there, girl. You just gotta walk. And I'm over here like, help me cross the street. That was actually a few days ago, and that was the same day that I found out one of my dear friends has brain cancer. And then I found out my father-in-law, a few days before that, my father-in-law, who was going in for a routine leg surgery, had a stroke and 100% blockage in his carotid artery and had to get another major surgery back to back, this one in his neck. And my husband and he went out of town to help his family. And when we found out about our friend with the brain cancer, we just said to each other, how much more can we take? I feel like there are so many people, there are many in my life that are just dying off or becoming terminally ill with wasting diseases that are eating their bodies. Many, many, many people in my life. And I'm struggling here with faith. I am. For healing. I feel so blind. I feel like I am groping and dragging my ankle on the sidewalk to try and discern, where is God? Where do I step, God? Where do I go? Where do I go? How do I get there? I don't know. I don't know. So I sat down with my parents tonight and just grabbed their hands like I have any kind of confidence. And the Lord has really been convicting me about taking authority over the spirit of fear. And I have been trying to do that. Just like with my mom's pancreatic cancer. I don't care who's watching. I don't care where I am. I don't care if it's inconvenient. I don't care if all I say is, pancreatic cancer be healed in Jesus' name. That's all I say. I don't care. It's getting prayed for. And so the Lord has really been convicting me about taking control over the power of the spirit of fear. And to try and learn what it means to harness and embrace and accept and act in the spirit that He has given us of love and power and of a clear mind. I'm trying to figure that out moment by moment in this dark valley. So I prayed and I was like, in the name of Jesus, we break the power of the spirit of fear. I was like, we break your power, we bind you in Jesus' name, we take down the strong man of cancer and wasting disease and every tormenting spirit of despair and hopelessness, right? So I'm praying like that with all this like supposed authority. And my dad just broke and he was weeping and my mom was weeping and I was weeping and I'm just like, this is really scary. This is a lot. And I acknowledge that. And so I prayed. And then my mom, as usual, she can't just be prayed for. Just like pray back. It's like when someone gives you a gift and they're like, "Oh, wait, I have a gift for you. It's this old, this is this cutting board I've had, and and I've never used it. It's yours." You're like, "Well, I just wanted to give you this little teacup." And they're like, "Oh, I have a cutting board for you." So my mom is pay for my mom. She's like, "I'm gonna pay for you." Whatever. It's probably where I get it from. But it was very tender. It was very scary to sit there together, the three of us, and just clasp our hands around the table and cry out to God. And my dad wept, and my mother's sitting there holding her head like this with one hand as we're praying. And you know, with that, I'm not trying to be fake cheerful, but I was like, we're gonna get through this. I just don't know. That blind man really struck me as, it just struck a chord in my spirit that man was me. And it's just continued to wash over me because it so sums up what I feel like. I'm really scared. And God has not given me a spirit of fear. And it's only the first round of chemo, not even first round, the first treatment. I feel nauseated. My stomach is cramping. My heart is pounding, palpitating pressure. There's just some days where I feel like if I let it out, it won't ever stop coming out. So I hold it in. And wait till I can talk to myself about it and just verbalize what I'm going through. I'm not shaving my head. I'm not. My mom really doesn't want me to. What am I gonna do? Somebody said to me the other day, they were like, Alicia, if you're gonna shave your head for your mom, but your mom doesn't want you to, then you're really just shaving your head for your own catharsis. And they said, you know, your mom's one wish was that you would grow your hair out. They were like, why don't, instead of shaving your head for your mom, why don't you grow your hair out for your mom? Because that's what she actually wants. And it stuck with me. I hate hair. I don't know how else to say it. I hate hair. I hate having hair. And yeah, I guess I was looking for an excuse to shave my head, but no, their point was well taken. My mom does not want me to shave my head. My mom has cancer. But Jesus has the answer.